And welcome back. I'm Cheryl Casoni. I'm in for Maria Bartiromo this morning. It is Thursday. It is April 9th. Here are your top stories, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. We are waiting any moment now. The breaking news, the state of the labor market amid the coronavirus pandemic. Initial jobless claims are due out in about 2 minutes. Economists expecting 5.25 million Americans filed for unemployment last week. Some estimates we've seen above 9 million. I've seen 2 million. And all of this is going to be on top of the nearly 10 million who filed in that 2-week span, that number that we got last week. Let's look at the futures right now. We do have a negative start as far as going into this number. This could change, though, when these numbers cross. The Dow is down 121 in the pre-market. I want to bring in, along with our panel, Wall Street Journal senior writer John Hilsenrath. And John, tee us up as what you are expecting from initial claims this morning.
Well, it's going to be another big number. And when you add it to what's happened in the previous 2 weeks, we will have had more people joining the unemployment roll in 3 weeks than we have in the entire year preceding that. You know, it might not be as large as last week's number of 6 million, but but this is accumulating. The people who got on last week and the week before that are still on. So it's clearly a deteriorating job market, and you know, as Stephen said, you know, the economy is in clearly the down phase of a down cycle, and we're a long way from being out of this.
So, Steve, I mean, maybe we are prepared for worst case scenario, and we know that the White House knows that these numbers are coming down, hence extending unemployment benefits by $600 a week to those that do file and making sure that states are ready to hand out those unemployment checks to people that are going to need it.
Yeah, think about this. Let's say it's 5 million. And by the way, the fact that we don't know whether it's going to be 2 million or 5 million or 9 million is amazing, because usually we're trying to estimate these numbers within, you know, 5 or 10,000, and we don't know within the millions. That's how dire this situation is. But let's say it's 5 million. That means in the last few weeks we had 15
Guys,
million.
we've got the number. Steve, stand by. We've got the number. 6.606. Wow. Initial jobless claims coming in 6.606. Now, this is, again, a million claims, everybody, million claims coming in. Now, this is above the estimate. Remember, the range, the official estimate was 5.25, so this is coming in above expectations. Maybe not a surprise considering what we saw last week. But again, and I think this is interesting as I were looking at the futures right now. Mattie Duppler, I want to bring you in because we saw Dow futures down more than 100 points. Now we're seeing the markets kind of coming back. Because, and I think this is worth noting, some of these estimates have been we were going to get 9 million. Again, 6.606 million initial jobless claims were filed for the week ending last week. Mattie.
Yeah, that's right, Cheryl. And the thing to keep in mind as well, even though these are millions of people who are now out of work, those are real life scenarios. They are not just numbers on a paper, and we need to keep those real stories in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is that there are real reasons for why these numbers are going up. One is that eligibility has been expanded for unemployment insurance. So more people are being eligible, like gig employees, which is important since those folks are out of work. But secondly, these unemployment offices have been overwhelmed since the first week of the start of the crisis. So they're probably catching up to some effect on some of these claims that have been attempted to be made over the last several weeks. So we knew these numbers would be big because, again, of course, the consequence of shutting down the economy to contain the virus is that unemployment is going to get higher in the near term.
Right. And I want to add in, guys, really quick, and I need to get to Ed Lawrence on more breaking news, but 6.86 million, 6.87 million, that's last week's revision. So they revised last week higher to 6.867 million. Remember, last week had been 6.6 million, so a slight revision higher for last week, which I somewhat were expecting. I want to bring Edward Lawrence. He's got a Fox Business alert. You've got news on the Fed. Edward, go.